Well, hello everybody and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 413 of Linux in the Ham Shack, the most terrific amateur radio podcast on the internet. And tonight is the Weekender, and I actually spent a couple of seconds to figure out which Weekender this is, and it's number 72. So 72nd edition of the Weekender. So before we dive into amateur radio events and amateur radio contests coming up, open source events, and all kinds of other things that might be of interest to amateurs around the world, and of course our slide later on into hedonism. Before we get to all that, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
And where we start is amateur radio contests. We start there every time we do a Weekender. And we've done that 72 times now, or almost 71 and a half, I guess. We're working on number 72. And I'm going to steal Bill's line this time because I'm going to introduce you and say you start off every time with the amateur radio contest from contestcalendar.com, the most incredible contestcalendar.com on the internet. So,
absolutely.
What do we got?
What do we got? Well, this weekend we have a big one here for the Ute. We have the Youth on the Air contest, and this one runs from 0800 Zulu to 1959 Zulu on May 22nd. Bands there are 80 through 10, no work. Modes are single sideband and CW. And what is it? Of course, it's the IARU or IRU Region 1 Youth Working Group cooperating with the MRASZ or MRAZ, sure, Hungarian Amateur Radio Society for increasing youngsters' activity on the air, strengthening the reputation of the YOTA program, and demonstration of support for youngsters across the world. So it's a great opportunity to get on the air with some youth. You get extra points if you're youth.
And don't be dissing on Mraz because
Jason Mraz.
Yeah, because he is probably the number one musical avocado farmer in the world.
Avocado farmer.
Well, he is.
Awesome. Yeah, he does a wonderful rendition of Rocket Man live. You can find on the interwebs. It's really good. Anyway, so also this weekend, of course, we all know it's a sad state of affair when my phone popped up and said, "Hey, 4 years ago you were at Hamvention."
Wouldn't it have been 3?
Well, the one that popped up was the 4-year one.
Oh, okay.
Some reason it highlighted the 4-year one. So yeah, it was the 2018. I guess 2018. Yeah, I'll do that. Anyway, so Hamvention QSO party. And of course, anytime it's mentioned here, it's because it's a contest and you can earn points. So this is operating from 1200 Zulu to 2400 Zulu, May 22nd. Bands there are also 80 meters through 10 meters. No work, single sideband and CW. So I'm assuming there's going to be maybe a little cross-pollination here, but you'll have to check to see if you can submit logs against both. And of course, they want you to send CQ, HVQP. So Hamvention QSO party. Your call sign, a typical exchange will be the signal report and the first year you attended Hamvention. And if you can't remember, just make one up. No, just kidding. So, and they want the full 4-year number. So example on CW, you're going to send KB88XXXX 599 1998 with the other person's call sign or your call sign. I can't remember how that works. But anyway, you get the idea. If you've never attended a Hamvention, please send 2021 in place of the year. So there you go. If you've never been, go ahead and use 2021 as the year that you have attended the virtual Hamvention. And, of course, the links to that are in the show notes. Also, the State QSO Party Challenge and Workdoll QSO parties, there are none this weekend. So, you do not have to worry about turning your radio on for those if you're only participating in that event. Let's see. Next weekend, we have a big one here. This is the CQ Worldwide Wpx Contest. This runs from 0 Zulu May 29th to 2359 Zulu May 30th. Bands there are 160 meters through 10 meters, no work. Mode is CW. So this is the CW version. And of course, the prefix contests are for prefixes. So this is one you can collect all the prefixes, the NE4s, the K5s, the W5s.
I should put our AF0 on the air.
Yeah, AF0, that would probably be a good one. It's definitely would probably not be a very common prefix, but yeah, definitely. If you got a unique call sign, this is the time to kind of pop up and be heard. CW, you can definitely send slow code. So don't be offended by sending slow code. They will slow down for you. And if they don't, use a CW reader or something. Keep up with them.
FLDigi. FLDigi is a CW decoder and sender. So
so FLDigi will work fine. And I've used that in a contest sending, and it will send at about 20 to 25 before the wheels start falling off the audio sending out. Unless, of course, you're using Pipewire, then you're in trouble. No. The other contest we have going on next weekend, we have the Day of YLs contest. And this one is running from 0001 Zulu, just because they want to be different, May 29th to 2359 Zulu, May 30th. Bands there are 80, 40, 20, 10, and 2 meters. So there you go, something different. CW, single sideband, and digital, FT8 and RTTY are accepted, or good for the modes. And of course, this is the group that's in memory of Fox 5 India Sierra Yankee, Karen Dubois. She developed this YL contest and did not ever see it to the end. We are now going to make this happen in her memory. So, we mention this contest every year when this pops around. So, definitely participate if you can. And let's see, State QSO Party Challenge and Worked Out QSO Parties, nothing. So it's a quiet couple weeks for State QSO parties.
Well, everybody must be gearing up for whatever the next one is, which is probably something weird like Utah, but who knows? All right, so moving on from contests in the amateur radio world, we've got some special event stations we want to mention. The first one is Winner Chicken Dinner Road. This is from May 22nd through the 23rd, 1600 1800 Zulu daily, call sign Kilo 7 Sierra Whiskey India. Frequencies on or about 3.85, 7.25, and 146.52. Still wondering about doing contesting on the calling frequency. Must be, I don't know. We'll see what happens there.
Maybe we're just off by 0.1 or something.
Mode's obviously phone. And this is the Southwest Idaho Amateur Radio Club will be commemorating the original chicken dinner that took place on Chicken Dinner Road about 100 years ago. There are different versions of the story available, but the most popular is that a local named Laura Lamb was famous in the area for her delicious fried chicken dinners, complete with rolls and fresh apple pie. She and her husband knew then Idaho State Governor Ben Ross, who told Lamb that if she could get the road graded and graveled, he would see to it that it was oiled. Governor Ross was good on his word, and the local kids started chanting chicken dinner every time the school bus turned down the road. An anonymous person painted the words Lamb's Chicken Dinner Avenue on the road, and these supposedly are the reasons the road got its name. A certificate is available, self-addressed stamped envelope at $1. If you want one of those, QSL, and all you have to do is send a self-addressed stamped envelope and your QSL card for that. No money required. Everyone is welcome and encouraged to visit the SWIARC, SWIARC, at the special event. We hope to hear you on the air. Link, of course, will be in the show notes. And we mention this one every year as well because it comes out of right here in Springfield, Missouri. It's the K0S Strange Antenna Challenge, operating May 28th through the 31st, 1800 through 2359 Zulu daily. As I mentioned, it's K0S. Frequencies on or about 3.900, 7.200, 14.300, and 28.500. Ooh, 10 meters. We'll see.
Hey, it has been open. It has
been, yeah, and 6 too. So, anyone may operate as a satellite K0S station. Simply add stroke K0S to your call sign. Each satellite K0S station is responsible for their own QSLs. The purpose of the Strange Antenna Challenge is to utilize antennas not made of normal antenna materials. In the past, fences, statues, vehicles, and bridges have all been pressed into service as strange antennas. This also simulates emergency operations following a natural disaster and is a fun and interesting way to promote your club. So there you go. AF0SS stroke K0S. Except I'd have to be feeding my file cabinet.
There you go. Feed the vulture.
I'm not sure what frequency a vulture is resonant on, but I know they don't
find out, right?
I know they don't respond well to laminated glass at 55 miles an hour. So, story for another time. Check out the Discord if you're interested in what we're talking about. And then finally, we have the D-Day commemoration. This is going to be from June 3rd through the 16th, 1300 to 2200 Zulu daily. Call sign Whiskey 2 Whiskey. Lots of different frequencies, modes, digitals, and everything available. Check out the link in the show notes for more information about where you can hear all of this. Amateur Radio Club of the National Electronics Museum, ARCNEM, will operate W2W in commemoration of the anniversary of D-Day and the role of electronics in World War II. Or we. If the museum is closed, club members will work the special events from their home stations. Primary operation will be June 5th through June 7th, with additional operation possible during the June 3rd through 4th and 8th through 16th periods as operator availability permits. Operation on 80 meters, additional bands and digital modes possible during the event. Frequencies will, of course, be plus or minus according to QRM. QSL and certificates are available via self-addressed stamped envelope. Link, of course, will be in the show notes for more information. And that's it for that. Announcements. I don't have any. Anyone have any announcements?
Well, if this gets up tomorrow morning.
Which it will.
Okay, so there we go. It'll be, there is the Hamvention forums Zoom call that will be going on tomorrow or today, I guess, as you listen to this. And I attended the Contest University one today, where they did give out four ICOM radios, IC705, two IC7300s, and an IC7610. And I hear that there are radios being given out tomorrow, as well as prizes for people that actually show up and attend the Zoom call. So if you're interested, the registration details are on the Hamvention website, and you can go check that out. So there you go.
All right, very good. At least that's something to fill that space. So I just put something in to fill the space of the Linux in the Ham Shack Ham Radio Challenge, and it has to do with the last deep dive we did. Maybe check out WF-View if you have a mind and an ICOM radio. As it was discussed in the deep dive, there will be other radios that will be supported at some time in the future, but this is all related to ICOMs currently, mostly newer ones, but some older ones. But if you have one of those radios, maybe check out WF-View, and a link to WF-View is in the deep dive episode, but I'll put it back here in this episode too as well if you want to check out that software. And if you haven't listened to the deep dive yet, you should definitely go back and check that out. So moving on, we have This Weekend in Open Source, and Bill is going to tell us about a distro that you can try that's not Fedora.
It's not Fedora. No way. Yeah, this is GNU Guix, or GNU Guix 1.3.0. So what is it? GNU Guix is a transactional package manager and an advanced distribution of the GNU system that respects user freedom. Guix can be used on top of any system running the herd or the Linux kernel, and it can be used as a standalone operating system distribution for an i686, x86, 64 architecture, ARM v7, the other Pi thing, AA Arch 64, and Power 9 machines, because everybody wants to run a Power 9 machine. In addition to standard package management features, Guix supports transactional upgrades and rollbacks, unprivileged package management, per user profiles, and garbage collection. Just in case your garbage man doesn't show up, this apparently can take care of that. When used as a standalone GNU Linux distribution, Guix offers a declarative, stateless approach to operating system configuration management. Guix is highly customizable and hackable through Guile programming interfaces and extensions to the Scheme language. From the 5.11 release notes, this release comes with ISO 9660 install images, a virtual machine image, and with tarballs to install the package manager on top of your existing GNU or GNU Linux distro, either from source or from binaries. Guix users can update it by running Guix pull. It's been almost 6 months since the last release, during which 212 people contributed code and packages, and a number of people contributed to other important task code review. System administration, translation, website updates, outreachy mentoring, that's kind of cute, and more. There's been more than 8,300 commits in that time frame. So yeah, this is all stable. No, it's probably okay. So yeah, check out GNU Guix. It's definitely one I haven't heard of, but I saw it in a list of distros sort of growing over at Distro Watch. So I always dig there if I'm looking for random stuff and stuff I haven't heard of, and I look at that top 50 list. And this was definitely in there somewhere.
All right, very cool. I don't know that we've mentioned that one before, Guix. So I might have to check that one out. I probably need to try out a few other distributions just to get my hand back in that game and see what else is out there. I've been definitely stuck on Debian and Ubuntu of late and really not branched out or tried anything new. So time to change that. But in the meantime, while I'm getting ready to install Guix on my computer, we'll bring Cheryl in here who talks about our open source events that are coming up in the next, few weeks anyway.
Okay. So our first one is OpenJS World 2021. It is June 2nd. It is online and it is free, and there's a question mark beside that. I'm not sure who put this information in, but obviously...
I put that in the only reason I put a question mark in there is because I couldn't find the answer to the question if it's free or not. I gather that it is, because I didn't see anything to the contrary, but
it may not be.
It may not be.
Gotcha. Okay, so the information on the event is join JavaScript professionals, including developers, software engineers, developer advocates, and business leaders at the OpenJS Virtual Global Conference. Connect, learn, and collaborate with community members from projects including AMP, Dojo, Electron, and Node.js. Our next one is StackConf, the Open Source Infrastructure Conference. It's June 15th through the 17th. It's online. It's free. And the information is get to know innovative solutions in the spectrum of container, hybrid, and cloud technologies, and learn what will shape the future of open source infrastructures. Follow the streamed presentations of renowned experts and ask your questions directly via live chat. Network with participants from all over the world. And the last one is Open Source World East. It is June 22nd through the 25th. It is in Miami, Florida, and the cost is anywhere from free to $2,399 US. And the information for that is open source enthusiasts from all over the world will be at Open Source World. Be there as the community gathers to share their open source passion. Hear the latest open source news and project updates, gain access to in-depth technical sessions, participate in networking opportunities, meet potential collaborators, and review and discuss detailed case studies of open source projects. Discover how open source, the world's most widely used open source telephony software, can save you money and empower you to create more flexible telephony solutions. And more information for all of these is going to be in the show notes.
Yes, it is, because I see that there are links there, because I put them there.
Yes, there is.
And it's really funny you say telephony, especially with the guy that works for, Shouldn't it be telephony?
I don't say telephony.
Well, I said it.
Yeah.
That's what Bill's saying. Yeah, telephony. Yeah, I said telephony. It's telephony. I'm sorry. So
you just put the wrong syllable in the wrong place or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay. Bill said Wizzy Wisig, so
that's
Wizzy
true.
Wizzy Wig.
Wisig.
Someone spelled it with a Z the other day at work, and I had to correct it in Confluence. So I was like, I feel so proud of myself. At least I didn't use a Z.
No, I just threw in an extra syllable and a incorrect pronunciation.
Yeah, Wisey Wisig. Yeah, that's
Wisey Wisig. Yeah,
Wisey Wisig.
It could be Wisey Wisig for all I know. I just grew up with it being WYSIWYG, so that's it is what it is.
Whatever.
Anyway, so moving on, we have an open source challenge, which I'm just going to plug in the amateur radio challenge because it's the same exact thing. So just give WFView a try if you can, if you're using ICOM hardware. And if you're not, wait for WFView to be available for whatever you're using or buy an ICOM. There you go.
Yeah. Plus, even just try getting it up and running, especially if you don't have an Ubuntu based or Debian based system where you have to kind of make your own instructions to get it running. Also check out the binary package to see what you need and what's missing in the build. Any of that stuff can also help them build the software package so it works for many users, just like we talked about in the deep dive.
All right, very good. Thanks for that. That's actually nice to flesh that out a little bit. So cool. So now we've come down to the part of the show that everybody actually enjoys, including us, which is hedonism. Let's get into it. And we always start hedonism off on the Weekender with Cheryl's Recipe Corner. And, of course, this Weekender will be no different. So what do we have tonight that we can all enjoy food-wise?
Okay, so tonight I picked my recipe for the crispy, creamy chicken Cordon Bleu. Russ is a huge fan of Cordon Bleu. I'm still kind of on the fence about it, but I don't like my food mixed, nor do I like it touching on my plate. Holiday dinners make that very interesting. So Anyway, I really liked this recipe. I found it a couple of months ago, and I think the reason why I liked it so much is it had a Dijon sauce with it. The recipe that I have actually calls for deep frying the chicken, but we are huge fans of using our air fryer, and it came out great done in the air fryer. So, for this, you need some boneless, skinless chicken breast, salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, some Swiss cheese, some ham, vegetable oil or peanut oil if you're going to fry it, some flour, some eggs beaten, and some panko breadcrumbs. And for the Dijon sauce, you need some butter, some garlic, some flour, some milk, some Dijon mustard, some Parmesan cheese, and some salt and pepper. And, of course, the instructions will be in the show notes, along with the recipe, of course. So, but it was actually, I thought it was really good. I think Russ did as well.
I don't think I've met a Cordon Bleu I don't like. I mean, what's
did
not
you
to
like
like?
it with
I
the
mean,
Dijon sauce?
Yes. No,
Okay.
no. Again, yes. It's not what I was used to. So,
Right.
but I mean, yeah, it was good for sure. I
Okay.
mean, what's not to like about chicken and cheese and ham and sauce and I mean, it's all good.
Got all
Did
the
you
right
think it came
ingredients.
out right? Did you think it came out okay done in the air fryer?
Oh yeah, it came out fantastic. That like everything we've done in the air fryer that I can think of. I mean, every once in a while there's a miss when it comes to like reheating something, but as far as stuff that's cooked in it, it always comes out great.
Right. Yeah, and it saves on oil.
I was just gonna say, I realized on my my new oven range thing that we've got, it has an air fryer built in.
Interesting.
So it's like a huge air fryer. Yeah, so it has, the basket is as wide as the oven that you put.
So you
in
can
there
air
for
fry
stuff.
2 turduckens at once.
Yeah, you could air fry some serious stuff. We've only done like tater tots in it so far. But like, yeah, man, you could do like a pound or two of tater tots in there at once.
So I'd like to
pretty
see
amazing.
like one tiny little pan of tater tots in this giant oven.
Well, we filled the whole basket. It was a serious load of tater tots.
I could see like one little lone tater tot sitting there going, "Wow, it's big in here."
Yeah, a lot of breathing room.
Is it getting hot in
that oven
here,
does
or-
everything. I just connected it to my phone today, so now I can like turn it on from here. That's great.
That's
Uh-oh,
nice.
you're getting into the smart home. I don't know.
I know. I've avoided it for so long, but I'm like, I got a Samsung phone. I already got the app installed. Let me see. Oh, look at that. It says, hey, you have an oven sitting right next to you. Do you want to add this to your thing? I'm like, okay, fine. Let's see what this
Sure.
looks like. So yeah, my only connected device is my oven. So hack my house and turn my oven on. It's not gas, so you can't kill me really. So
Right.
Yeah.
All we can do is air fry some nuggets or something.
yeah, air fry some tater tots.
Tater tots, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends have the I guess it's like the Bluetooth or whatever crock pots.
Oh yeah.
And they actually like it because they can actually turn it on from the laundry room or their desk at work or whatever. It's
Oh,
like, okay, yeah, so...
Turn it on from the laundry room. That sounds like people who text because they can't wait for the 5-minute drive to be over before they pull out their cell phone. But okay.
Yeah, here I think it's going to be. We want a frozen pizza. Okay, let me turn on the oven and preheat it.
That's only really good if you can have like a robot actually put the pizza into the oven, because turning the oven on is not really going to help you.
No.
But anyway, so you got a cocktail you want to talk about, right?
Yes, I do. And the cocktail I picked out for this week is called the Miami Vice. And since we're creeping up on summer, it's time for summertime cocktails. This is a mix between a pina colada and a strawberry daiquiri. Plus, it was named after one of my favorite 80s TV programs. And Don Johnson, also known as Sonny Crockett on the show, is from a town that's about 20 miles away. So, and that, for the drink, it needs white rum, pina colada mix, ice, some more white rum, some strawberry daiquiri mix, some more ice, some strawberries, some pineapple leaves, strawberries, whatever, as your garnish. So,
Why does it have these ingredients twice?
because you mix up the rum and the pina colada mix and the ice, and the rum and the daiquiri mix and the ice, and then you dump it together.
Oh, I see. Makes perfect sense.
You don't want
Right.
to bruise the
Right.
smaller portion of white rum, you know. That's,
Well, yeah, yeah. If in the instructions it says mix together 3 ounces of rum, 10 ounces of pina colada mix, and 2 to 3 cups of ice. Pour that into a pitcher. Then you do 2 ounces of rum, 8 ounces of strawberry daiquiri mix, some strawberries, some ice. Pour that into a pitcher, and then dump both of them into your glass at the same time. So it makes a kind of a Mod Podge of, the pina colada strawberry in the glass. So
so you
got two
the
pitchers.
daiquiri mix you actually throw in a blender, though.
Right.
Oh, okay. So that's a different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it sounds interesting. We don't ever do frozen drinks like that. So
No, and we have a really nice mixer, our blender sitting in there in the cabinet that would probably do great for frozen drinks. So
yeah, the only thing that annoys me about that blender is that you cannot remove the blades. It seems like the dumbest. I mean, I kind of understand why.
it's a Pampered Chef blender. It has a self-cleaning function. So
And it's also a cooking blender. It has a heat.
you can make
element.
soup and stuff in it. Yeah.
Oh,
So
interesting.
So it's So I kind of get why it's the way it is. It's just annoying.
I actually made the garlic soup that we have at Zydeco's that K9KJN owns in the blender, and it came out magnificent.
Yeah, which is really cool because you put the ingredients in, and then it has a cycle, and the cycle will operate the blender at certain periods, and then will also heat the soup. So when it's actually done and blended, it's actually cooked too, just right in the blender. So
Yeah, you can
Saves
make
you a step, right? Having to pour
Right,
it
well,
into
yeah.
the blender and then burn
Yeah,
yourself.
you just right. Yeah. Well, the thing is with the garlic soup is it requires stale French bread essentially ground up into breadcrumbs to thicken the soup. So I was telling Hutch about the Pampered Chef blender. He's like, I think that would work okay. So I decided one night to just wing it, and yeah, it came out great. Another thing that I've done I've not specifically done with it, but others have made jellies and stuff because it cooks the jelly and everything, and with the Sure gel or whatever you need to put in it. So they just pull it out, throw it in some jars, and stick it in the fridge because it's so hot when you put it in there, it automatically seals the jars. So. All right, yeah. But and we can use it to make it like a blizzard or something like that. Takes about 7 seconds because the blender is so powerful. That's, if you do it any longer than that, it basically turns it into a milkshake. So, because we did that one night too. So,
and I did
Interesting.
what was it? The cookie dough. You just take the cookie dough out of the the Toll House cookie dough tub and throw it in with some vanilla ice cream, hit the thing for 8 seconds, and you have a cookie dough blizzard. It's really good.
yeah. Although one thing we have noticed with making things with McDonald's for the longest time had Rolo McFlurries. I'm not exactly sure what they did with theirs. They were really good. Ours basically come out and the Rolos are frozen and they're like chewing on rocks.
Yeah, it would be nice to know what McDonald's does to get theirs to be actually edible, because when we did it, like she said, I mean, they literally turned into boulders in the ice cream, and they were only in it for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And yet they were frozen solid.
Yeah.
Some cold ice cream.
Yeah, or something. So, but
Of course, they're doing it with soft serve, so it's a little different.
Well, that's true.
That's true.
So maybe we should get some soft serve
Soft serve?
mix and or make our own ice cream and get it to the soft serve point and then use that. So,
well, if you're going to do that, though, you can't use a blender. You have to actually use a blizzard thing,
a shake maker type
shake
thing. Yeah.
But anyway, boy, that was a long discussion about a cocktail.
About a cocktail, yeah.
That's okay. All right, so now is my drink corner, which is going to be far less interesting, I'm sure. What I have tonight is Very Old Barton, Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Very Old Barton, which is owned by Sazerac Company now, is produced in Bardstown, Kentucky. You need to mute. Okay. There are several expressions of very old Barton, including an 80 proof, an 86 proof, and a 90 proof, but the one I'm talking about tonight is 100 proof. It used to be bottled in bond. It's not anymore. There's some suspicion that it might be bottled in bond again at some point, but it is not now. It used to have a 6-year age statement. It no longer has that as well. That might also come back at some point. On the bigger bottles, it still shows a 6 on the label, but it's not 6-year age. I mean, it is 6-year age. It's 4 to 6. There's weird rules, and I think I've gone over this in other drink corners about when bourbon has to have an age statement and when it can't. I'm not going to go into all that again.
Details.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere. But this whiskey is at least 4 years old and could be as old as 6, which is not bad because this is a really, really cheap whiskey. The mash bill on it is 75% corn, 15% rye, 10% malted barley. I'm taking somebody else's word for that, so hopefully it's correct. Proof on it, as I said, is 100 proof, 50% ABV. It comes from Bardstown, Kentucky. It's a very solid honey color, like when you go get like real honey from the store and you're looking at a jar of real honey, this is exactly the same color. So if you know what honey looks like, actual honey, not the fake stuff, then you know what color this is. It's a little on the lighter side, and when you first drink it, because of that 100 proof, it's a little bit acetone-y. It's a little bit heavy on the alcohol, but a couple of drams and that goes right away. And considering this is basically bottom shelf stuff, that's to be expected, I guess, to a certain extent. The nose is actually pretty delightful considering it's a cheap whiskey. You get apple, caramel, some light fruit notes, like the kind of fruit you would get in a fruit punch, like a light sweet fruit, not a citrus or dark cherry or anything like that. A little bit of unripe banana, like green bananas, and some medicinal cherry on the nose, but it's not particularly unpleasant. It's actually quite a nice nose, and actually has a bit of character for a bottom shelf whiskey. The taste on it is pretty good too. Like I said, the first kind of snort off the top, you're going to get a pretty heavy dose of alcohol, but once you get past that, once you're sort of acclimated to it after a few seconds, you get some good stuff like some red apple peel, oak tannin, burnt sugar, toasted corn, and cherry. And the cherry actually becomes more of a sweeter cherry than the medicinal that's on the nose. And as you drink it, the finish kind of fades away, all of those sweeter flavors, and you're left with a sort of dry finish with a little bit of a herbal, tanniny, barrel-y note. And you can sort of get a sense of the vague sweetness in there. But then all you have to do is go back to taste it again, and all of those sort of fruit sweet notes come back to it. So overall, this is pretty nice for a bottle that costs you, I think I've seen it as low as $16 for a fifth of it at like Total Wine, and anywhere upwards of $25 depending on where you are and where you're buying it from. But I actually quite like this, and I've only seen it in a couple of places, so I don't know how available it is around the country, but for what you're paying for it, for the $20, maybe slightly less tag, you can do a lot worse. And honestly, I'm going to give this like a 89. I don't think there's any reason to justify it being in the 90s, but it's definitely high 80s for sure, especially at the price point. So solid 89 on the old Barton Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So there you go.
Yummy.
And you're into the dry fly again.
Yeah,
you lucky SOB.
I got another bottle of the dry fly 120 proof wheat cast strength whiskey from Washington, which I'll be bringing you a bottle if I don't forget.
Oh, thank you.
So you can try it out. Yeah. And then I just fashioned an old fashioned out of it, and it tastes great. It's really interesting. I drank it straight the last time I had a bottle, and I liked it. This time I was like, I'm going to just try mixing it and just trying to see how it does as a general mixer. And it really, it just gives like a different flair to drinks, even just, simply adding, Diet Coke or something like that in it. It's just definitely a different thing. Yeah. It's still good. I like it.
Well, I cannot wait to have you come down here, and so I can taste it. The way you've described it sounds fantastic. So I've been looking forward to it since the first time you bought a bottle, which was like 3 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely looking forward to it. Cool. So check out Dryfly if that's something that you can get. I don't know what kind of distribution they have other than the states of Washington, Idaho, and Montana, but presumably you can get it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right. So that is it. We've come down through all the amateur radio and open source topics and slid all the way through like a slip and slide into the hedonism and then back out the other side, straight into the grassy berm with hopefully only minor scrapes and bruises. And so let's go ahead and mention the folks who are with us live in the chat room tonight. We had Don, KC9ZMY, The Menace, Ted, WA0ER. It made it sound like Ted was the Menace. Okay.
Ted was the Menace, yeah. Dennis the Menace, no.
So it's The Menace, pause, Ted, WA0EIR, Tony, K4XSS, Steve at K7HBT, and Darren, VK60K. So thanks, everybody, for being here and listening to the show live and being a part of the program, whether you're a supporter or just a listener, and everybody who joins our social media platforms and just interacts with the show, and especially those who give us voicemail, 1-909-547-7469. We don't say that often enough. Please give us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. Just know that we'll put you on the air unless you tell us not to, and then we won't. So with that, we have come down to the end of the 72nd Weekender, episode number 413 of Linux in the Ham Shack. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a great couple of weeks. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD 73.